All right. Good morning. How is everybody doing today? So I saw a little freeze on the frame there. So we're going to talk about insecurities and maybe a little lack of confidence, things that hold us back. And I'll tell you what's leading up into that. But I want to check first and see, make sure where we are. You see that little sign there. We were Lisa Fredrickson was going to be on, but she has a couple sick grandkids that are visiting with her, and she's not able to join us this morning. So the other platform that we were going to use didn't allow me to just come on by myself. So here we are, and I missed talking to y'all last week, but I was thinking about it. I was able to send a text message. I think y'all may have seen that as I was going through Colorado. So I went I guess it wasn't last weekend, but the weekend before, to my 50th. That seems so weird to say. I have to tell you, it just seems so weird to say 50th class reunion. So yes, I'm a 69er, and they did such an awesome job, the reunion committee, and they had several videos, and one of them was all about what was going on in that time. And so some of you are in the same age bracket that I'm in. And so you'll remember a lot of those things. Of course, walking on the moon, and there have been a lot of things on TV in the last couple of days or couple of weeks actually about the moon landing. And of course, there's a lot of Vietnam protesting and some things like that going on, as well as that was when Woodstock was. And I remember at the time hearing about this big thing going on, but it never occurred to me to go. First of all, my parents would never have let me go. But I want to make sure, first of all, if you're out there, would you like to say a quick hello so I know that we actually are talking to somebody here? I want to just see who's out there. The feed is not showing me today if anybody is even there. So I'm assuming that you are, but if you could just do a little quick hello in the chats, that would be awesome. So what I had decided is I had a few things that I wanted to bring back from Kansas City. So I drove to Kansas City, and again, y'all probably saw that I made some postings on my way out and my way back, but I have to tell you, it is just so beautiful. So I drove from Las Vegas. Oh, there we go. Ah, people are there. So yay. It just now like blinked on just so fast. So that's so cool. All right, so let me say hello. So let's see. Miss Kathy, good morning, and Dawn and Micah. Oh my gosh, good morning. Brenda, hi. Yes, Kansas City, and Karen and Lisa. Oh my gosh, Lisa, it's been a little while. I'm so glad to see you on. Lisa's one of our gals from out on the East Coast, so it's so cool to hear from her. Elizabeth Berger, girlfriend, so good to see you. Allison, hi there. Paulette, thank you guys for checking in. It's weird when I'm here and there's like nobody over this, like, how am I talking to? Like, is anybody there? So thank you for posting on there. So as I was saying, I drove, from Vegas to Kansas City, and the beauty is just so overwhelming. If you've never had the chance to drive cross country, I know it sounds like crazy. Oh my gosh, all those hours in a car. I happen to like it. And it probably started when as I was growing up, because when I was growing up, you didn't take airplanes. I mean, it was so expensive. And our family, when we went on vacations and stuff, we always drove to grandparents and all. So I kind of just grew up always being in the car, and I love to drive. So my sister and I, when we take trips, we have to decide who's going to be the driver, because we both like to drive. So we sort of flip the coin, so to speak, to see who actually gets to drive. So as I'm going across it, so you leave Vegas and pretty much, the brown desert. Now, the desert is beautiful, and like I said, I love living out here. Then you go into Utah, and there's these magnificent red mountains. It is so beautiful. Now, I don't know if I would want to live there because it is pretty desolate, but there are some beautiful places in Utah that you could live. But as you're driving through and you're going up I-15 across I-70, those red mountains are just spectacular. And then you come out of that into that lush green beauty of Colorado. And again, I stand in awe just of our Creator and just how the beauty that he put on this earth. It just overwhelms me. So I spend a lot of my time just praising God and singing in the car and listening to books. I listen to, on the trip, I listened to 4 books, 2 out and 2 back. So anyway, so then after going to Kansas City, I went on up to my class reunion. That's in Bellevue, Nebraska. And again, the reunion committee did just such a great job, and we had such a great time. And the thing where I'm going with this morning, so you don't just think I'm rambling for no reason. I always have a reason to be with you guys. I feel like when I see your names over there, like we're actually talking. If I could just see your faces, that would be the best. So I'm still hoping that that's going to happen in one of these days. I'm going to get that figured out and worked out and all that technical stuff so that I could actually have conversation back and forth with, more than 1 or 2 of you. So it'd be really cool. So let me say, if you would like to be on the show sometime, it's an interview, it's just a girl chat time back and forth, let me know. Send me a private message. You could tell me on here, but you can send me a message at deardelinda@gmail.com and just say, yeah, that'd be fun. You'd like to be on. We can have our own little, The View coffee shop on our Tuesday morning. So as I went to the reunion, I kept asking myself, because I really haven't kept in contact with very many. In my class, we were just under 500 in our graduating class. So it was a pretty big school. And my dad was in the Air Force. So we were in Bellevue at the Air Force Base there in Bellevue, Nebraska. And really, there's probably only 1 or 2 that I've really connected with over the years. One is Stephanie Ross, and she was one of the planners. And oh my goodness, she has posted the most amazing, wonderful things and really brought people in and invited. So shout out to Stephanie if you're on here at some point. Really want to thank you for that. So she and I have kept in touch. And she actually came to Kansas City one time and we got to see each other. So I was asking myself, so why are you going? And I don't know exactly, but I thought, several of the girls that I hung out with, one of them is Carol Kuba Voss, and she and I were in French club all 4 years of high school, and I took 5 years of French. Now, I can only, je parle français un peu, just a tiny bit after 5 years because it's been so many years since I've done it. So I wasn't really sure, and I thought, well, Carol said that she was going, and Sean O'Keefe was coming. So there were like 5 or 6 that I was close with that I saw were going. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go. I sort of felt compelled to go. And I am so glad I did, because I actually learned a little bit about myself, which was interesting because I don't know what I was expecting. But the fun thing was, at this point, when you've been out of high school, this is just my brain. It just seems so weird to say the words 50 years. Then I don't mind. I am happy every day. Every day is a blessing. Y'all know I don't hide my age. I'm 68. I don't care. I'm just so glad to be alive and do what I do and share with all of you that, whatever age doesn't really matter. It's all a mental state of mind anyway, right? But for somehow saying I graduated 50 years ago does a little weird click to my brain. But as we were there, the conversations were so interesting because most of our class, most of the people, many of them have retired. Now, I think retirement is that's another one of those weird words. It doesn't even mean what it used to mean anyway. I think we need to come up with a different name for when people get older and we change. It's just a new season. It's a change. Sometimes several of the people are doing, a lot of them are doing volunteer work. And Sean, one of the ones that's like, I thought this was so cool. She works with kids that read to pets. I've never even heard of such a thing. It was just like it's like crazy cool. So children, she goes and the kids read to pets, and it helps them not be afraid to read and talk out loud. And so they're just talking to the pet and reading the book to the pet. I would love, if I ever go see her, I want to go be part of that and see what that's like. Another one of my classmates, so cool, because you know how I love it as we get older that we don't hold back and go try something new. And one of the gals, at 40, she decided that she wanted to go back to school. And so she went back to school, got her degree, then got her master's. And she is a librarian in a town there in Nebraska. And I just admire that so much, that at 40, and y'all know about my friend Susie, that at 50, she went back to school. So it's that thing that sometimes there's things that hold us back. Sometimes it's just normal life, you're raising kids or whatever, and that's not as important. But when your life opens up and you have more choices, and that's the good news. I'm talking really fast today, aren't I? Sorry, guys. I guess I'm sort of excited to be back on with y'all today. Corey, hello, good morning. And Jan and Sharon, yay, thank you for checking in. I love to see that. So in high school, we had this music group, and they were called the Bel Airs. Now, the Bel Airs were the high-end audition choir for our school. Now, many of you know I'm a singer. I've been singing my whole life, from my dad telling me to sing for the relatives, sing Jesus Loves Me or something, and always put me on the spot. Made me a little uncomfortable when I was young because I never knew what to sing, but I loved it. I always loved singing, right? But I didn't officially have my first solo until I was in youth group, in youth group in the youth choir. Sorry, brain lapse there. And so that was cool. So in junior high and high school, I sang at church, and I sang solos and things that kept growing, and then went on to major in music in college, right? Well, what's interesting is that in high school, I was very unsure of myself. And that's what I really realized. I hadn't really thought about those years in the meantime, in all these times I haven't analyzed what did I feel like, or who was I, or what was life like for me when I was in high school. Well, I was part of the drill team, which was my main thing. I loved it. It was like the dance team, not a cheerleader, but the drill team, for all the football games and stuff. And I loved that. It was really, really cool, really fun. It was the highlight of high school. But this other group, the Bel Airs, were just the premier singing group. And what I realized as I was talking to someone is that I never did even audition, because I knew in my head, okay, this is my head speaking, I knew I would never make it, so why audition? And when I say that now, it's like, oh my gosh, really? But yeah, they were just so good, and they were so put together, and I was just beginning to understand that I could sing, and getting a little more confident just singing in church. And somehow in my brain, it was just singing at church. That little, oh, that's just singing in church, as opposed to, oh yeah, this is singing in church. And now singing in church, it has a whole different meaning. That's where I want to sing. I want to share the gospel. I want to share the love of Christ singing in church. At that time, though, that was just those beginning years, and I loved it, but I was not confident. I was not secure in myself. So I just watched from afar and loved hearing them sing and all of that. But to realize it this last weekend when I was there, that the whole reason that I wasn't part of that group was because I was too afraid to audition. Because if I didn't audition, I wouldn't fail, right? Have any of y'all ever felt that way? I mean, so you can put out there, yes, but I know you might not want to make yourself vulnerable to that. But think of yourself as your younger self. And even those of you who are young, who are on here, do you ever have those times, or even when you were maybe high school or college, where you did not do something because in your head, you'd never make it, so you didn't want to try, or you were so afraid of failing? I never admitted that to myself until just this last weekend. I never even had those thoughts. I just didn't do it. But it's easy, and hindsight's always great. Good morning, Al. Oh, yay. And that's so great. And thanks, Sharon, for answering. So yes, she's a strong one. She's confident. She can say yes, that she's had those times. So then as I began talking to the different people, as I began connecting with others, I remember that because some of them were much more, or appeared to be, let's put it that way, appeared to be much more confident than what I was in high school. I sort of just stuck a little bit to myself. I went to French club, Carol and I hung out and did the Belvedettes, the drill team. And in a big school, and I think it's like that, I was thinking about that as too, I think it's the same in a big church. If you go to a big church, you never feel quite as connected until you get involved, until you join a Sunday school class or a small group class of some kind, maybe a women's Bible study or I didn't notice if we've had any men join us this morning, because sometimes we do. Oh yes, we did have one. That sometimes we don't feel like we connect until we can get in a small group. And I want to encourage you to do that. Whatever things that you're involved in, like I said, whether it's a big church or other big groups, that you find a small group within that group, people that you can connect with more one-on-one, because that's what makes you really feel connected and feel like you belong. So in high school it was that same way. So Belvedettes was my connection, and then French Club was my connection. I don't think that I was in any other clubs. I'm not sure that I was. And I certainly didn't feel confident to put myself out there to date any of the football players or any of that. I don't know that I dated many of the guys at school, because when we saw each other, at the reunion, I knew them, from being in my classes. Met several of the guys that were at the reunion, but I don't recall. I really didn't date them very much, because again, most of the time it was my own insecurities, and most of the guys that I did date were from the church, because the church was my connection at that time. And I have to say, I'm really thrilled. Alicia called me yesterday. Alicia's my daughter. Y'all know that. She called me yesterday, and now both of her daughters, my granddaughters, who are 12 and 14, have started going to church, and they're starting to go to the youth group. And I'm so thrilled for them, because that was the way that was my life through junior high and high school, was being that connection at the church and feeling like you belonged. And don't we all want that? I mean, really, isn't that part of what we want when we go to anything? So it's going to church, when you're going to networking groups, because don't we want to connect? So we go into those groups and we visit a time or two, and if we feel comfortable, and the first time, often you go in and you don't know anybody, right? Which is a good thing, because that helps you connect. That helps you, expand your business and your sphere of influence. But as you get in it, you do want to have a few people that, when you walk in the room, they smile. Doesn't that make you feel great when you walk in a room and somebody actually recognizes you and says, "Oh, hey, it's so great to see you. I'm glad you made it. How are you doing today?" And, or they even I try to do this, because I know it's really hard for somebody to come into a meeting or a gathering alone by themselves. So I try to be the one to put myself out there and say, "Oh, hey, hi, I'm, it's nice to see you here. Have you ever come before? Have you ever been here?" Or, to break that ice, to make them feel better. And that is in anything. So as we're talking now really about the insecurities, so are there some things, is there something even in your life right now? So I'm going to bring the lesson and the aha moment from my reunion back to today. So are there things, is there something that you really would like to be a part of, but you're afraid, and maybe you haven't even admitted to yourself yet that it is because you're afraid, and you're thinking, well, they're not going to want me, they're not going to want me to teach this class, or they're not going to want me to lead this group, or they're not going to want me to be part of this, or even, I've had ladies tell me that they didn't want to go to a particular women's group or women's, like, say, Bible study or a book group, because they didn't feel they were smart enough to be there, because, like, well, I don't know the Bible, I don't know scripture, I don't know all these various things, so they're not going to want me. So I'm going to say right now, get over it. Just stop it right now, because it may be holding you back from something wonderful. It might be something really wonderful that you could be part of, and you could learn, and you could grow, and maybe you could even help out and make the group better, because you're there. And you don't, in any of these things, y'all, any group that we join, we don't have to be perfect first, because the truth is we're never going to be perfect. So when we can get over that perfect thing and just go ahead and step out of our comfort zone and say, well, I might not make it, but I am sure as heck going to try. So, of course, obviously, if we knew what we knew now and we could go back, I wouldn't want to change my life, because where we are today is based on all the choices and all the decisions that we've made to this point. But as I look back, I can see many places through the years where I didn't put myself out there because I was afraid of the rejection, or being told no, or being, feeling like that I wouldn't make it, or I wouldn't be chosen because I wasn't good enough? So that was one of the things I have to tell you. So anybody that's not 50 out there, just, you know what, when you get there, it's pretty great. When you hit 50, we were talking about this with our group too. There is something kind of magical that happens at 50. So any of you are getting close to that time and you're worrying about it and thinking like, oh no, I'm going to be 50. 50 is like freedom. I think by the time we hit 50, we finally realize that it really is it's more important to choose what we want for our lives instead of just, just being what's expected of us, that we can do the things that we really want. We can try something new. We can go back to college or go to college for the first time. We can do more than we've ever asked of ourselves by just stepping out and doing it anyway, and not worrying so much about what other people think. Because that, it is that fear of rejection. It's about what other people are thinking. Are they going to reject you or take you? But once you can say to yourself, it doesn't really matter. If I make it or don't, at least I tried. Some of y'all know I went out to, when we first moved out to Vegas, I'd always wanted to be, I'd done some acting, because in singing you do. So I've studied opera, and so I've done some opera things, and which are really fun. Opera is awesome. I don't know if you like listening to it or whatever, but I love singing opera, and being in opera, shows are great. So so I've done some of that, but I've never really, gone and done other. Oh, thank you for all the love you guys are sending me all these little hearts. I thank you so much. You're so cool. So as I moved to Vegas, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go out to LA, and I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to go just try it out and see. So I did. So for 2 years, I rented an apartment. I'm getting close to the end here. I rented an apartment over in LA, and I thought, I'm just going to go out and try it. So I went and I got the headshots done and did up my resume and all that. And so I thought, you know what, whether I make it or not, I'm just going to try it. So it doesn't really matter the outcome, because what happens, the confidence happens by actually doing it, by taking the step. That's why, I love the Nike saying, just do it. So it doesn't matter. So if you think about that, if you'll go out and step out and do something just in order to do it, whether it's the outcome you want or not, do you understand the difference? It's like it gives you confidence to just step out and do it. It's like, I did that. So I was in a few things. I was background mostly. Okay. Well, not mostly. It was background. So I was in Grey's Anatomy, a couple of episodes. I was on Boston Legal a couple of times. If you went back to some old reruns, a couple of times I was in the elevator. Who's the Star Trek guy? Y'all know. So who is the Star Trek guy? Anyway, who was on there, and we were in the elevator, and I was one of the reporters with a microphone in his face. But I loved it. And then HBO did a show on vampires, True Blood. And I was actually in the beginning, the pre, whatever, I can't think, the very first show of that. So that very first show of that, I was I was in that, and it was really fun. So it was a whole week, and got my SAG card and stuff. But from that point on, I didn't do a lot. Like I said, I was mostly background, but I learned so much. And then I was over here in Vegas, and I started auditioning for some things over here. Didn't make anything over here. And I remember going one day, and I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I just been to an audition, and I said, thank you, Kathy. Yes, a pilot. And thank you, Paulette. William Shatner. That's who it was exactly. Oh, Paulette, you're just too young. I don't know that I have a song to sing for you this morning. You guys are so sweet. So I'd gone to this audition, and I was out, and I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I said, the thing they're looking for really, because once you get into an audition, you kind of get an idea of what it is they're really looking for, and you're reading the part, and so you don't know, because you're going to get hired if you fit what that director is looking for. So I said to her, well, they must be looking for a tall, blonde, totally built, long hair, skinny, all that stuff. And I said, I could try out from here till, the Lord comes, and I am never going to fit that bill. And I said, what I've learned is I'm really good at being myself. And those kind of things that being good at being yourself being happy to step out in your own life, to step up to the plate, to try something new. Don't let the fear of it, the no answer, stop you. Because what if they say yes? What if you try something and you get it? You know, you try going to that group and you fit in and you make your new best friend. There's so much more joy. There's so much more out there for you in life if we can just, all of us, get past that thing of what if they say no? So let's change it around. What if they say yes? But more importantly, what if you step out? Do that thing that scares you. Don't not audition for whatever it is. Okay, I'm not talking about, doesn't have to be singing on, but in your life, what is that thing that you are looking towards, right? So try it, do it anyway, and look back at your life. And when you begin to look back and ask yourself the questions, you know, what are some times that you wanted to try something, but that fear held you back? And then look at that, and then look at your life now and say, okay, what is it right now? Because I would venture to say that right now, for many of you in your life, boy, I've got some noise going out there, sorry, that many of you have something in your life that right now you'd like to try. You'd like to just give it a shot, a group you'd just like to go visit. So go do it. Go do it. And then send me a message. I would love to hear it. Send me a message of what it is that you stepped out and did. And you don't have to give me the answer of, was it yes or was it no, or did you like it? But the no is just as important as the yes. And when you really get that, it gives you more confidence. And that's my goal, to help y'all understand and to be more confident in your life and really realize how amazing you are. You are amazing, every single one of you. So thank you. Let me see here. I'm going to do a quick, go back up here and see if I missed anybody. And Joanna and Chris and Stacy and Rosella. Oh my gosh, you guys. Joey, hi there. And let's see, did I say hi to everybody? You guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for signing on. Oh, actually, we have one whole minute. I was so afraid I was going over because I truly try to honor your time. And Stacy, good morning. Because as any of y'all have joined before, know that I really try to keep it right from 7:30 to 8 so I don't go overboard on taking your time. So I'll be doing some live lunches in the second week of August, so be watching for the notices on those, and you can join me on Zoom, and those we get to talk to each other. So look at that, be watching for the notice. The second week of August, I'll be holding all online Zoom, meet me for lunch kind of things. And I would love to have you on there and be able to chat with you. Jessica, good morning. Oh, you're coming right at the end, but I'm glad to see you. All right, my friends, I'm really feeling so blessed this morning. So I just want to thank you again. I want you to remember that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. Choose wisely. Go out and make your life what you want it to be, and choose to do something that scares you. I think Eleanor Roosevelt said something close to the fact of go out and do something that scares you every day. So go do that. Choose to do something that scares you. And I think you will be the winner just because you did it. All right. Bye-bye now. Have a wonderful week. Bye.